Welcome back to my channel. So, as you guys can see by the title, this is my cancer story part 2. So, I hope you guys settle down, get you something to drink, pop some popcorn. It's gonna be probably, I'll try not to have this video long, but you just never know. So, just sit back in if you want to hear my cancer journey part 2. Then keep watching. Okay, so I should have probably rewatched part 1 because I kind of forgot where I stopped at, but I'm just gonna start with that Wednesday. With that Wednesday, my first chemo and my first radiation appointment, my doctors just decided that I was gonna have chemo every Wednesday with the first chemo, and then radiation was every single day. Nightmare. So my mom, my dad, my ex, well, my stepdad, but he's like a father to me, my ex, we all get in the car. I'm living in downtown LA, and the first doctor appointment was in Burbank at the Disney Cancer Treatment Center. So I drive there, don't know what to expect. My mom, well, none of my family wasn't allowed in the radiation room because, hello, it's radiation. So I go in there. Well, you have to go through, we go to the ladies' side. We have to change into these gowns, take all your clothes off and then change into the gowns. I was able to leave on like my undergarments. I don't really remember, but I left my undergarment. Well, I don't really remember. And then the nurse comes and gets you, and they take you to the room where this big machine, look like a little arc or a donut have you, where you have to lie down on the I'll say a bed, even though it's not a bed. You have to lie down, and they already the day before, 2 days before, I was there so they could pinpoint where they were gonna hit, where the radiation was gonna hit me at. So they I lie down on this thing, and then they're like they scramble out the room once they got me all nice and settled. It was so cold in there, but they did put blankets, put a sheer, not a sheer, they put a blanket around me, and they put a blanket around me, and then they scurried out of the room, and they let me know over the speaker, okay, we're gonna start the machine. They started the machine. Didn't feel anything. I was like, oh, that's not bad. I can handle this. This is nothing. And so we were done. I went out, had to change back into my clothes, because then I had to rush all the way to Sylmar on a Wednesday morning. I think my cancer treatment started at it had to be 11 or I know I had to be at my my radiation doctor's at 8. Cancer treatment started, chemo treatment started at, I think, 11 or 10ish. I don't remember. They both were morning time. So after I changed out of my clothes, everybody's asking me, oh, are you okay? Can you drive? I'm like, I'm fine. I could drive. I got this. Calm down. And so I get in the car, and I drive us on the freeway, and I didn't even make it out of Burbank before I had to get off the freeway. I got sick, but I went on the freeway, and then I had to get off another Burbank freeway because I got so sick. I was about to throw up in the car, and I was driving. So I got off the freeway, and I started, I pulled over to the side, and I just started throwing up. And I was like, I looked at my ex, and I'm like, can you drive? I can't drive. And he's like, yeah, I'll drive. So he had to drive drive us to the hospital in Sylmar. And and yeah, he's a scary driver, so you can just imagine my poor mom and my stepdad, and I'm over here throwing up in the bag in the car. So I'm not all the way, as of right now, I'm not all the way here. Like I'm not in pain. I'm just keep throwing up and throwing up and throwing up. So when you throw up so much, you get exhausted. And this is like on my way to my next appointment. So we get to the hospital. I'm a mess. And I check in, and the nurses look at me, and my mom, I believe, said, "Do you have any a bag for her, just in case she has to throw up, because I've been throwing up." And the nurses, they gave me of course they gave me a bag, and I'm like, I'm conscious enough to know I don't want to throw up in front of people. Like, I'm sure they know, because I'm at the special, I believe it was the special units, part, room, and I'm like, I'm like, everybody here, they're in here for treatments, but I don't want to throw up in front of people. I don't want to be perceived as weak. I think I do throw up in front of somebody, I don't know. When you get chemo, you have to have your IV put in. So you go into they had this other, it's in the same room, but then they have a small little room where they put the IV in, and the nurse is like, "Are you okay?" And not the nurse, I forgot who, the person that gives blood, I forgot what they're called. I think it starts with PH. It's like, "Oh, are you okay?" I'm like, "Yeah, no, I'm fine." She's like, "I'm sure it won't be long. You'll be in the room soon." I'm like, "Yeah, no, I'm okay." So I get that IV put in. You sit out until your nurses come get you. My nurse came and got me. I forgot her name, but every time we're going to the hospital, I see her. I wonder when I go in there, does she remember me? Because it's just different. They work in different departments, so I still see her to this day. I don't know if she remembers me or not, but she made my first chemo really comfortable. Me throwing up and me not really, I'm there, but I'm not there. I remember when she was like, "Don't worry, I am going to get you some medicine." And so you have to get medicine before chemo, because I guess chemo is so strong, you don't want to feel it, when it goes in your veins. So when she hooks my IV up, of course I get the solution, and then she's like, "Okay, I'm going to bring your medicine. It's going to make you feel a little bit better," which it does. It just makes me drowsy. And I wasn't allowed to have everybody in that area with me, so they had to come back there one at a time. So of course I wanted my mom in there with me first, because she was also leaving that day. Her flight was leaving that afternoon. So they hooked me up. They hooked me up to they hooked my medicine up, and I immediately started getting drowsy. I start feeling better, but I'm drowsy. I remember my cancer counselor came in, and she was like, "Hey, how are you doing? How are you feeling?" And I'm like, "I feel fine. I feel great." She's like, "I heard you didn't have a good morning." I was like, "No, but it's better. It's so much better." And she was like, "Okay, well, I'm gonna come back and check on you." And then she leaves me, and then I asked my mom if she doesn't mind getting my ex, because I wanted him in the room with me then. And he came in for a little bit, and after a while, I'm gone. I'm doped up that I don't know what's going on. All I remember is my mom coming back there and saying, "Okay, me and James are about to leave. My ex is gonna take us to to the airport, and I was like, okay. She, you know, she gave me words of encouragement, and then she left, and I was all alone. Oh, I believe Mr. James came back and said bye to me too. But after they left, I was all alone, and then I realized this fight was gonna be something. It was gonna be something I would have to stay strong with. So yeah. They all left. My nurses, they give me my chemo treatment. It comes in like a brown bag where you can't really see the solution that much. They plug it up, and I remember when it first went into my veins, it burned a little bit. But then after a while, I figured the solution and the medicine before chemo also burned. So maybe it was just a fragment of my imagination. But I didn't feel any pain. I didn't feel any discomfort because I was asleep, and I didn't, it was like you don't know what's going on. It's like being high on drugs. So I remember I woke up and my ex was there, and I knew my mom was already gone. And my nurse, I look up and it's just solution in there, and they're like, okay, you did your first round, and we're just gonna wait till the solution empties out of the bag and then you're good to go. I'm like, okay. I'm still so heavily drugged. It's like I'm not there. I'm there, but I'm not there. That first day was rough, but I didn't realize how worse it was gonna get. It was gonna get even worse than I wasn't ready. So after the first day, I go back to the apartment and I'm asleep, and then I'm waking up throughout the night and I'm throwing up. So yeah, and what my doctor said is, a lot of people love the day of chemo and the day after chemo because, you're still on the medicine and you feel fine. Well, because of where my radiation was hitting me, which was basically my stomach because of my lymph nodes, like the radiation wasn't making my stomach like settle. It was like, it wasn't a good feeling because it outweighed the medicine that they gave me for chemo. So yeah, so all of my treatment was me throwing up. So I repeated radiation every day. The only thing is that I had to drive my ex to work because he couldn't come to radiation with me every day. He still had to work, and so it would be early in the morning. I'll have to drop him off at work because he had to be at work either sometimes at 8 or 9, and then I would have radiation. I would try to, if he was worked at 8, I would try to have radiation at 8:30 or 9 o'clock. There were some days where they put me for radiation at like 7:30 or 8, where I couldn't take him to work, where I had to go straight to radiation, and he had to, because he didn't have a car, so he had to like either take the bus to work. But most of the times, I would try to get radiation like around 10 or 9:30ish, so I could take him to work and then I could rush over to radiation and get that treatment done. I was still trying to work at my job when I was going through cancer, so radiation was in the mornings, and I would go to radiation. Well, I would either take him to work, go to radiation, then I would have to go home, maybe sleep for an hour, and then I would get ready for work and try to go to work. I tried to work because I had no other form of income. My mom and dad figured that they were gonna have to help me out because I did not want to go. I did not want to have to risk it to go back to Alabama with her and try to find a cancer treatment when my doctors already had a plan in action. sometimes I do wish I would have went back and went to the cancer center in Atlanta. But, you know, stuff happens. But, gosh, I don't know I forgot where I was at. But yeah, but I still had to work. So my manager at the time, she was so supportive. She visited me in the hospital when I first found out. You know, she'd been through this before with her husband, so she knew what was like. She knew what to expect, and she every day I come in, I'm looking. I like it will wear you down after a day treatment. So you could just imagine me coming in, like, I think I was going to work for like, chemo started at the beginning of September. I didn't take a leave until towards like the end of September. So at least 2 or 3 weeks I was trying to go to work. I was late. I was always late going to work. And I'm always, if you know me, I'm early. I'm 3 hours early to work or 2 hours early. Don't ask me why. Just know that I'm early. And so, you know, I'm hunched over. I can barely walk. I can barely drive. I'm breathing hard. I can't breathe. And I'm like, I asked the manager, I'm like, hey, is it okay if I just sit down? And I'm just at cash wrap or at the register. She's like, all of the leads and like the managers were okay with it. They were like, yeah, we'll do whatever you need to do. My store manager saw me sitting and she came over to me and she said, I'm sorry, I can't have you sit. If you're not feeling well, you can go home. Of course I'm not feeling well. Of course I'm not feeling well. I'm in pain. I'm at every, like, I cut my schedule down to, like, if I'm working, I'm only going to be working 4 hours a day. And I'm rushing back and forth to the bathroom throwing up. So you could just imagine, I'm in pain. So, when she says that, I get up, I go to the back, and I collapse on the floor because I can't stand up at work. And my manager that understands, she came to me, and I remember I'm sitting on the floor. I can't get up. She comes to me, and I just tell her, I'm like, Alicia, I can't. I need to go on leave. I need to go on leave. I can't do this. And she was like, okay, you go home and I'll get all your paperwork ready. So she gets all my paperwork ready. I have the task of telling my mom and my ex and my dad that I'm not gonna work. My mom and dad already didn't want me to work. My ex was just like, well, how are you gonna do this? Even though he's like, well, he's like, well, I don't feel like you should have to work either. Anyway, I feel like you need to go home. You need to go home to your mom. And I'm like, I don't want to go home. Like, I don't want to. I need to continue treatment here. I remember we get into an argument about that, and then he finally was like, no, it's okay. I don't want you to leave. Whatever. It's not about him. But, so I stopped working and I just go to treatment every day, radiation, and then every Wednesday chemo. My ex does take Wednesdays off to be with me for chemo because I can't drive myself because of the drugs that they give you and you're knocked out like majority of the time. So I'm doing that for all of the month. The rest of the month, radiation. Now, radiation was a bitch. And so if you're getting radiated in your stomach every day, and then I think the last 2 weeks, I had to get internal radiation. So I had cervical cancer. Cervix is in your vagina. So they had to take a metal rod, stick it up there, and all that radiation is like circulating throughout my body. A lot of people ask me if I had a choice or if I could determine what the treatment I would have gotten. I would not have gotten radiation. I remember when they told me that you need to get radiation. Your lymph nodes is swollen. It could be cancerous. And then you have a large mass on your cervix. We need to get rid of it before it spreads. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And okay. Everybody's like, well, you need to do whatever you need to do to get rid of it. I said from the beginning, I'm not getting radiation because I won't be able to have kids after that treatment. Why would I do that? My radiation doctor, I remember when me and my mom went and sat down with her, she said that she won't radiate anywhere near my eggs. So in the future, I would probably still be able to have kids. I don't know. I feel like I was lied to just so I could get treatment. And not treatment to save my life, but just to treat. I feel like the healthcare industry is so money hungry. I don't know. I feel like they're money hungry. So I feel like they would say anything to me just to get me to do that type of treatment. When it was time to start my internal radiation, the mass was so big that you couldn't see the hole of my cervix. So I had to go get surgery to put something in the hole of my cervix just so the rods could, fit through. And so my ex takes me to my surgery doctor. I'm in surgery all day. And then the doctors wake me up and they're like, you did so good, Miss Stallworth. Honestly, I scraped most of it off. Excuse me? You scraped most of it off. Why am I still getting radiation if all of it's mostly scraped off? For cautionary reasons, I still had to get internal radiation. And if it was up to me, I would not have. So, but I don't know how many times I called my family and I told them I do not want to continue this. I don't know how many times I called them and I called my mom. Then I told her, Mom, I don't really want to do this. I don't want to continue this. And she was like, you have to. You have to continue treatment. You have to survive. If you don't continue treatment, you might not make it. Please continue treatment. And so I know my mom probably was going through a lot, because it seemed like every time I talked to her, I would tell her I don't want to do this. And she would tell me, no, you have to. And she don't understand the reason. Like, she wasn't here. She wasn't there. She didn't see what I was going through. Like, and I try not to let a lot of people see, like, what I was going through. The only other person that saw it from the beginning was my ex. And he was not really the most supportive person to be living with. After I got the surgery for when they had to put the thing on my cervix, that same night, And he went out after he dropped me off at home. He took my car and he went out to West Hollywood with his friends. And before he went out, I was like, I don't feel good. Like, something's not right. And he said, like, some kind of sly comment. Like, basically, well, if you're not feeling well, make sure you just call the ambulance to come pick you up. And, I didn't want to put a damper on his life. He still had, he could still live life, you know. He wasn't going through this. It was just me. So, he left. And then all that night, while he was gone, I couldn't breathe. I'm in the bed counting my heartbeat. I'm counting my heartbeat, like true story. I'm counting my heartbeat lying in the bed. I couldn't get up. I had a fever, like my body was aching, and I thought that night I was dead. I was praying to God. To please protect over me. But I also was praying to God if I was gonna leave, please take care of my family, my mom and my sister. Guys, you don't understand. Like, I legit, like, that night, it was one of the worst. If I had to throw up, I couldn't get up. I couldn't get up to throw up because I was laying on my stomach. I couldn't move. The next day, I had to drive myself to the hospital because I believe the next day was my chemo. When I told you, I walked in there and my camp counselor looked at me and she was like, "Are you okay?" I couldn't stand up. I couldn't breathe. I was like, I told her, I said, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't feel good. I can't do this. She was like, you have to finish this. You have to. I was like, I can't finish this. I can't. And she's still trying to talk to me when they call me into when they call me to the back to measure my temperature and all that, and take my blood levels, and then they took everything and they said something's not right, something's going on. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't stand up. I was so weak. They had to get me a wheelchair and wheel me out of there and admitted me into the ER, and then the ER admitted me into the hospital. Well, no, I stayed at the ER that night where they pumped me full of solution. They told me I needed to eat. I couldn't eat. They did give me some food, but I couldn't really eat it. And I couldn't call my mom because I didn't have service in my phone at the ER. And I don't even know if my ex even cared if I was okay or not, because I think my mom was calling. I think she told me she called him to see where I was. But they let me out that night. And I called and said, no, I'm okay. They had to admit me to the hospital. I'm on my way home now. I get home and he's just playing video games. Are you okay? Yeah, I'm fine. And then I go in the room and I go to sleep. Sorry, camera shut off. Okay. Anyways, that was my trip to the hospital. Second radiation, internal radiation started. That was something rather crazy, because when they told me I was when I was gonna have this, I needed somebody to drive me to the hospital. I had nobody. When you have internal radiation, I think I had like 3 times out the week. No, I had it once a week. And I only needed like 3 of those. but I still needed somebody to drive me to the hospital. But they were on the days where my chemo days was, so I had to drive myself. Keep in mind, they gave me medicine for that to ease the pain. And my doctor asked me, do you have anybody to drive you home? I had nobody. I was like, yeah, I'll be fine. So after that treatment, like after I'm done with that, I would sit in my car for like an hour or two and try to, you know, wait until the medicine is gone, because I couldn't drive. I'm basically doped up. And when the medicine was semi gone, I would drive myself back. I would drive myself to downtown LA around 2 in the afternoon. It would start in the morning, and then I won't be driving back until about 2 in the afternoon. The first round, like that first round, I think was like one of the worst, because I had chemo and radiation at the same time. And also, when at my radiation doctor, when I just had a checkup with my radiation doctors, because I did have checkup with my radiation doctors every day. They admitted me into the hospital because my blood was also low. Everything was low on me. My heart rate was low. Thought I was gonna die that day. They had to call the ambulance. My radiation doctor was like, you're too skinny, you need to eat something. The only thing I could eat was pickles. It was weird. The only thing I could eat was pickles. And my nutritionist was like, I'm happy that you're eating, but you need to eat more than just pickles. And I was like, I'm trying, I can't keep anything down. My ex would make this weird concoction. I used to call it like I don't know, it looked like stew. Or what is it the pigs eat, and it had corn and stuff in it? That's what it looked like. He made that and I could eat it. But I could only eat it 1 or 2 times, because then I would throw it up. Yeah, then I'd throw it up. There was this one time where I was hungry, and it was rare that I would be hungry, and I really was like, I want KFC. And not KFC, I wanted Taco Bell. And he was like, no, you don't need Taco Bell. Taco Bell isn't going to be good for you. You don't need to eat that. This is like 8 o'clock at night. I'm like, please, I really want some Taco Bell. Can you go get me some Taco Bell? He's like, no, you don't need to eat that. I'm like, the doctor said, I'm over here bawling, crying. I'm like, the doctor said if I could eat anything, like, would be best. Not, like, it doesn't matter what, just anything. And he was like, no, I'm not getting that for you. I'm not going to go out and get that. So I had to jump in the car and go to Taco Bell and get Taco Bell myself. I was in the car crying to my mom. My mom was fussing. His ass, no, he should have got up and got, I don't care what you need to get. You need to eat anything that you can eat. So he wouldn't do it. So I just did it myself. That's how strong I was. I did a lot of things myself. A lot of things myself. If I could have drove myself to chemo, I would have, but I couldn't. God, that was so much during that first round. Like, so much. I was so happy when November came and I was done with radiation. And then when the end... Well, I don't remember when I was done with chemo, but I think I finished the radiation first and then I finished chemo after the first round of chemo. I was so happy because Thanksgiving, I had my curls out. I was skinty. I was like, I looked like a skeleton, but I finally could eat, and I got to eat on Thanksgiving. And it was awesome. I had a break for a little bit. Oh. Yeah, I finished both before the 1st of November. I got my radiation certificate on November 9th because they checked, because I was just done with radiation. But I would have got it earlier. But when I also had cancer, my childhood best friend was shot to death. And this is one thing that I regret. When I was sick, I barely had my phone on. My phone was always dead. So if my mom ever needed to reach me and my phone wasn't on, she would always call my ex and he'll be like, oh, she's okay, she's sleeping. You know, I didn't keep my phone on. A lot of people didn't know I had cancer until I posted it on Facebook. And after I posted it, I like turned my, I would turn my phone off, and my phone was off like a lot of times. If you tried to call me, 9 out of 10, you would get my voicemail because I didn't have my phone on. I regret that I didn't pick up the phone a lot to call my childhood best friend. And even though my mom begged me not to come to that funeral, my mom begged me not to fly, I said I was going to go say bye to him. I think that's one of the things that during treatment, I'm like, why didn't I keep my phone on? Why didn't I keep my phone on? And the only reason why I turned on my phone the day that he died was because it was my sister's birthday, and I was just going to wish her a happy birthday, and my phone was going to get right back on. So, yeah. First round of chemo was a bitch. Only good thing about it, one of the good thing about it was my line sisters getting together and sending me a check. That was one of the good things about it. I believe I got cursed out my first round of chemo with an old friend. I'm sure she wished me dead. If only she knew that. During that time, I would have been okay if I wouldn't have gotten better. A person can only take so much when they're at rock bottom and they're trying to fight for their lives. So already having a friend die, already having this disease, trying to, make it and fight it, and then having a girl curse you out over stupid stuff. It was a lot. It was a lot. And then my ex not feeling like he doesn't care if I lived or died. So yeah. The second round of chemo was, it was bad, but it wasn't. The only thing bad that happened in the second round of chemo was when my hair fell out and it was more aggressive, so I was throwing up a lot more, even though I threw up. But I was way worse when I had both radiation and chemo. At least this time I didn't have radiation. At least this time I was able to take a bath. Because when I was going through the first, I did not take a bath. I couldn't get in the bathtub. There was one day where I was going to ask my ex, can you please bathe me? I don't want to have to put him through that. He did say yes. He would, but I don't want to have to put him through that. I don't want to have to be put through that. So I was just like, I'll just jump in there for a second and get out. After that day, there was no point of taking showers or baths anymore. It was hard. It was so hard. Now I understand, like, how much a person want to do something for themselves, having to depend on somebody else totally. That feeling sucks. That feeling really sucks. I lost my hair. I don't know the day that I lost it, but I lost my hair. And it was the feeling of me losing my hair was, is cathartic. I think that's the word, cathartic. Trying to hold on to it the best I can. I couldn't hold on to it anymore. It was irritating my scalp because it was already off my... Can you imagine something off your head and then it's just irritating, like scratching at your head and scratching at your head? It's going to irritate your scalp. So, told my ex to cut it off. Sat in the chair. He was like, do you feel anything? I'm like, no. He said, oh, because I'm just pulling it off and it's just coming off. Couldn't even cry. Couldn't even think. Couldn't do anything. I think seeing yourself look like a cancer patient, looking like you're sick, is a lot worse than, than you're having your hair and not seeing yourself. Because I still had my hair for my first round. I had my hair. It got tangled because I didn't do anything with it. I just put it in a ponytail and left. But when I started wearing my hats and my mask and my dresses that made me look like a skeleton, that's when you get the mark. She's sick. She is sick. I think one of the highlights, though, is that I try to keep one thing as normal as possible. And the one thing that I kept as normal as possible was my nails. My poor nail tech, who I love dearly, every time I would come in there, she would look at me like, and she would have the face like, girl, you need to be resting. What are you doing in here? But you don't understand. My nails, for my mom to put money in my account just so I could get my nails done to make me feel better about myself, it made me feel alive. So when people ever ask me, why do you get your nails done? Why do you spend money on that unnecessary stuff? It's not unnecessary to me. That was one point of my life where I still felt like I was living. And that's one thing that I don't think I could ever change unless I necessarily have to. But there was only a couple appointments that I missed because I couldn't get up. My nail tech was so great. And I was praying to God. I said, God, I already lost my hair. Please don't let me, because sometimes you lose your nails. A lot of people that go through chemo loses their nails. I didn't lose my nails. So I was like, thank you, God. Let me just keep that. Let me keep something. I went through a lot when I was going through chemo. I got terminated from my job because of paperwork that they said that I didn't do, which my doctor put, like, my doctor's like, we gave them everything that we on our end needed to do. It was so much. Like, I'm gonna stop it right there because I feel like I'm leaving so much out. And I'll just go back with part 3, part 3 will tell you, I will explain, like, the end of treatment, the future, and effects after cancer. My biggest effect of it all is the one that's haunting me to this day. So I'm already emotionally drained from telling the story. I'm just gonna end it right there, guys. So if you guys have any questions, please say them below and I'll try to answer them in the next video. I will answer them in the next video. You can always go to my Instagram if you have any, like DM me if you have any personal questions. I'll try my best to answer them. You know, if you haven't watched part 1, please go back and watch part 1. Thank you so much for the support. I'm making videos on this channel, so please like and subscribe. Follow me on Instagram. I don't know, all that jazz. Anyways, thanks guys for tuning in today. I hope you guys have a wonderful evening. Be safe out there. Live life, man. I know we have to live life inside right now, but don't let it stop you from living it at all. Okay, I'm gone. I'm outie. Bye.